Joe Biden receiving massive blowback for allowing Iran's foreign minister to enter the country in the wake of the brutal terror attack launched against U.S. ally Israel. Foreign Minister Hossein Amirabdollahian taking to the United Nations podium to threaten the U.S. This as Iranian proxies are actively attacking U.S. troops in Iraq and Syria.
We do not welcome to expansion of the war in the region, but I warn, if the genocide in Gaza continues, they will not be spared from this fire.
Join me now with reaction is former ambassador to the UN and CEO of United Against Nuclear Iran, Ambassador Mark Wallace. Ambassador, it's good to see you. First, I want to get your comment on the breaking news. Israeli officials say they have begun sending in more tanks, launching air bombardments in Gaza, and the IDF adds expanded ground operations. They say they're coming. Is this a sign to you that the ground invasion is about ready to get started?
Yes, of course, as you've reported, we've seen the reports that the Israeli tanks have crossed into Gaza and implementing specific actions. I think given the amassing of troops, the timeline and the way the bombardment is occurring right now, as well as the tanks are positioned, I think you'll be seeing a ground invasion soon.
Now about this man the Biden regime allowed to come into our country. Not only is this man Iran's foreign minister, but he's a colonel in the Iranian elite Quds force and was reputed to be the right-hand man of Qasem Soleimani, the terrorist mastermind taken out by President Trump. Should the Biden regime have let him in?
No, and it was really outrageous. As you said, this is not just the foreign minister of an enemy country that you could at least argue should be permitted in under the host country agreement. This is the foreign minister of the Quds Force, the specific terror organization that Iran uses for its terror operations around the world. We have a long history of denying visas and entry to the worst of the worst. And let me say, this man is the worst of the worst.
Well, Kash Patel, I don't know if you're familiar with his work. He's been sounding the alarm over Democrats hiring those who sympathize with America's enemies, in particular those who are being hired inside of the Biden regime. Kash has highlighted Robert Malley, who, despite his claims of doing nothing wrong, has had his security clearance revoked. Maher Battar and Ariane I can never pronounce his name correctly, Tabatabai. They are said to have clear ties to America's enemies. Are you concerned about Democrats' hiring practices to the highest levels in our government?
Look, these reports are very concerning, and we've called for a detailed congressional investigation of this matter. Look, for many years, whatever side of the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal you were on, there seemed to be almost a religious-like devotion to the JCPOA by some elements of the Democratic Party. And we are aware that Iran has been running influence operations in the United States for some time. These reports were very disturbing. I hope they're not true. But I think there has to be a serious congressional investigation conducted in a bipartisan manner to understand the nature and extent of this influence operation. And if it's there, it has tainted the entire JCPOA discussions and our interactions with Iran. We have to re-examine our conduct with Iran and our entreaties to bring them back into the JCPOA.
Well, last question I have, it's more of a political nature, but it's something we conservatives have been taking note of for many decades now, that it seems to be in contrast with, say, a man like President Trump, who has an America First mindset. The Democrats seem to be increasingly, and maybe dangerously so, America last, and putting our enemies and adversaries at the top of the list for monetary compensation and for appeasement. Might the United States come to regret investing in that strategy?
Well, even today, you've seen the reports of American airstrikes on the IRGC that was based in Syria. Iranian forces were based in Syria. And you've seen the spin almost from the administration going to great lengths to make clear that they weren't attacking the IRGC, even though they did attack the IRGC. That's because of almost the allergy within the Democratic Party and within aspects of our government, frankly, on the Republican side, too, to do anything that would be remotely provocative against Iran. That has eroded deterrence and emboldened our enemies, and certainly emboldened Iran and made the world more dangerous. We need a strategy of clear deterrence in a bipartisan manner. And I think that the Democratic Party really has to understand that only appeasing Iran is not the solution to a safer world.
Ambassador Mark Wallace, thank you, sir. Appreciate the visit here on the Chris Salcedo Show. Now, folks,